metaphysics. Metaphysics. A noun. The branch of philosophy that deals with the first principle of things, including abstract concepts such as being, knowing, substance, cause, identity, time, and space. Abstract theory or talk with no bias in reality. So metaphysics is dealing with the branch of philosophy, but it's not dealing on a physical scale. It's not original physics, it's metaphysics. And anytime that you are dealing with the metaphysics community, metaphysics is more like on an esoteric level. Okay, it's esoteric. It's not easily to be seen. It's like more on the outside of the box, while everybody is looking in is on the outside of the box. So metaphysics is on an esoteric level, and it's not easily to be seen or understood. Okay, brothers and sisters, it's not anything dealing with the physical realm, so to speak. It's dealing with hyper dimensions. Let's see, universal consciousness, time travel, stuff like that is on a metaphysical plane. I just want you brothers and sisters to understand the term metaphysics. So as we begin to go further into the lesson, okay, we're going to deal with metaphysics, but we're going to come from a metaphysical viewpoint in the Bible, because a lot of you people, brothers and sisters, do not believe that the Bible supports metaphysics. And we're going to show you that the Bible supports metaphysics. Okay? Pineal gland. The pineal gland. DNA activations and attunement. Let's look at concerning the pineal gland. The first one, which is endocrine gland. Okay. Located near the center of the brain. The pineal gland is between two hemispheres of the brain, which is the right side and the left side. This is just a side view of the brain, but if actually you would look at the brain from a bird's eye view or a front view, you will see that the pineal gland is located between two hemispheres, two halves of your brain. Okay, 5 to 8 millimeters. It's a pine cone shape. The pineal gland is in the shape of a pine cone, okay? And that's why it's known as the pineal. Involved in wake and sleep cycles. It's also known as the seat of the soul, okay? We will look at another take on the pineal. The pineal gland, which is also known as the third eye. Some people call it the mind's eye. Some people call it the all-seeing eye, okay? But it's known as the third eye. Why? Because the pineal gland is actually the third eye. Your eyes contains rods and cones. And the pineal gland is also made up of rods and cones, people. And that's why it's known as the third eye. Really, it should be known as the first eye. That's the eye that you're really supposed to be seeing with, which is the pineal. Okay, so by ancient people back in the old times, they call it the third eye. The pineal does contain a complete map of the visual field of the eyes. and it plays several significant roles in human functioning. This is Matthew chapter 6, verse 4, dealing with the Blue Letter Bible online. Matthew 6 and 4 concerning the pineal gland, and it's in the Bible. And also, metaphysics supports the Bible, and the Bible supports it. And I'm going to show you this. Let's begin with Matthew 6 and 4. That thy alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. So Yahushua, this is what he's telling his disciples, I believe, telling them what they do. Don't do it. Don't do it in the open, because I think it's talking about fasting and praying, I believe. Matthew 6 and 5, it says, and when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. So this is what the Son of God, Yahushua, who the world calls Jesus Christ, Matthew 6 and 5, he said, when you pray, you should not be as hypocrites, because they love to stand and pray in the opening. And they also like to pray in the synagogues and the corners of the streets. They want to be seen, basically. And he said, don't be like that. But what did he say concerning prayer? Matthew 6 and 6. But when you pray, enter into your closet. And when thou hast shut thy door, pray to the Father, which is Yahweh, who the world calls God, the Father of the Messiah. Pray to him in a closet, not in front of everyone, not in front of everyone. Pray to him in a closet. Shut your door. Let this thing be done in secret. And another form of prayer is meditation. So it says, pray to him in a closet or shut your door. Just make sure it doesn't be in the public. Pray to the Father, which is in secret. It says, and your Father, which sees you in secret, shall reward you openly. He's going to reward you. He's going to make sure that you receive what you put out. So I wanted to deal with this concerning Matthew, the 6th chapter, beginning with the 4th verse, stopping on the 6th verse, because this goes in, it tells you how Jacob was left alone, and he was left alone because he basically had an experience. Jacob was left alone, and we'll get into that concerning Genesis, the 32nd chapter, concerning the pineal gland. Okay. Matter of fact, we'll begin with Genesis 32 and 22. That's Genesis 32, 22. Just type that in and see, let's go. It says Genesis 32nd chapter, 22 verse. And he rose up that night. Who is talking about? It's talking about Jacob. He rose up that night. He took his 2 wives, okay, and his 2 woman servants, and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. Now Jabbok in Hebrew, I think is Yabok, which means, I think is a river, okay, located somewhere in the Middle East. You can do your research on that. For the sake of time, Genesis 32, 23, and he took them. Who them? Who is talking about? It's talking about his 2 wives, his 2 woman servants, and his 11 sons. He took them and sent them over the brook. So it looks like Jacob didn't go over the brook. He sent his 2 wives, his 2 woman servants, and his 11 sons over the brook, and he sent them over the brook, those that he had. And Jacob was left alone. And that's what I was telling you concerning Matthew, the 6th chapter, beginning with the 4th verse. We stop in the 6th verse. It says, when you pray, it says, enter your closet, man. It says, do not pray openly or in the synagogues or standing on the streets. When you pray, you're supposed to be alone. It's supposed to be secretly. It's supposed to be done in private. So you can see why Jacob was left alone concerning Genesis 32 and 24, because obviously he wanted to do this thing secretly. He wanted to meditate. No one knows exactly what Jacob was doing, but in order for Jacob to be left alone, as you can see, he was left alone. Basically, Jacob had to be meditating, okay? Because it was several prophets in the Bible that meditated. And let's go to Genesis 24:63. We'll show you that. Genesis 24:63 dealing with meditation, because this all ties in with the pineal gland. All right. So Genesis 24:63. Typing that in. 63. Okay. Let's go there. It says, and Isaac basically was the father of Jacob. And Genesis 24:63 tells you that he went out to meditate. So he went out to meditate in the field. What was Isaac doing? Meditation is another form of prayer. He went out to meditate in the field at the evening tide, and he lifted up his eyes and he saw, and behold, the camels were coming. So you can see Isaac was meditating as well in the field. So meditation is another form of prayer. Okay. So when you go back to Genesis 32:22, it speaks of Jacob being left alone. No one knows what he did, but we can put two and two together and see if he was left alone concerning Genesis 32:24. If Jacob was left alone, then we know that basically he was rather meditating or praying. Okay, which is another form of meditation. And Jacob was left alone, and there he wrestled with a man. It says, and to the breaking of the day. So a lot of people think this is basically literal, but it's more eternal than literal. Okay, Jacob was simply, to paraphrase it, he was meditating, right, and he was having a internal experience, an inner body experience, where he wrestled with a man to the breaking of the day. All right, some people say some people say this is literal. But after we break it down, you be the judge. Genesis 32:25. And when he saw that he prevailed not, that's the same man that Jacob was wrestling with. When he saw that he prevailed not, because Jacob had the upper hand, when he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, man. Okay? And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. So he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh, so to speak. He knocked this thigh, he knocked this hip out of socket, his hip out of the joint as he was wrestling. So that certain man, some say the man was an angel, but the chapter never said was the man an angel or not. But we know that he did knock Jacob's thigh out of joint as he was wrestling with him. Genesis 32:26, and he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go except thou bless me. So Jacob wasn't going to let this man go, right? 32:27, and he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, his name was Jacob. Genesis 32:28, and he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. Some people say Israel or Israel, but he changed his name from Jacob to Israel. Israel in the Hebrew is Yasha Allah, which means he is the prince of powers. So he changed his name from Yaakov, which means supplanter, to Israel, which is Yasha Allah, which is the prince of powers. For as a prince has thou power with God. So he had power with God, and with men has prevailed. Now, Genesis 32:29, and Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou askest after my name? So to speak, why do you want to know my name? And he blessed him. So he never told Jacob his name. Okay? Because this wasn't a literal experience Jacob was going through. That's why it wasn't really a literal man. Even though he wrestled with this man, this took place on the inside. This was an eternal situation, an interior situation. It wasn't concerning the outside. Jacob was meditating. He tapped into his inner being, and he had an internal situation that he prevailed over, man. And that's why he never gave Jacob his name. So he blessed him. Genesis 32:30. And Jacob called the name of the place Pineal, man. For I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. So Jacob called the name of this place Pineal, okay? That is in ties with the pineal gland, okay? That goes hand in hand with the pineal gland, man. So for people to say that metaphysics is not in the Bible, or the pineal gland is not in the Bible, or the Bible doesn't talk about the pineal gland, they're totally wrong. Because the same place Jacob called pineal, for I have seen God face to face. And that's what pineal means, to see God face to face. Let me show you in the concordance. All right. Now, it says Jacob called the place pineal right here, which is Hebrews 64:39, which is Panuel. As you can see, Panuel.
Strong's H 6439, Penuel. Penuel.
Penuel.
Gesenius Lexicon, Penuel. Penuel. Second entry, Peniel. Peniel.
And that goes hand in hand with pineal, man. Now let's go into it. 6439. Let's go into it and see what it says. Pineal or pineal. See? Pineal or pineal is the same. And it means facing God. Okay. So you can see that pineal means the face of God or facing God. So concerning Genesis 32nd chapter, when Jacob said that, made that statement that he seen God face to face, did he see the true essence of the Most High? What God did he see right here? Because the Bible tells you no man can look upon God and live. So what face of God did he see right here? Because he say, I saw God face to face. What Jacob had was an inner body experience, and he tapped into his pineal gland to connect him to universal consciousness. Okay, so to speak, some would say astral projection, where he tapped into the pineal that connects you to a hyperdimension. The pineal gland is antennas that connects you to a hyperdimensional state. Jacob tapped into that, man, and he had this hyperdimensional journey where he seen God face to face. Okay, and that's what you brothers can do once the pineal gland is at its full potential. Okay, so that's what happened. He said he saw God face to face. And did he see the true essence of the Most High? No, he seen um basically he tapped into his pineal gland, had his very first awakening. Because we know he didn't see the true essence of the Most High, the Almighty, face to face. Because how do we know that? Exodus 33 and 18. That's how we know that. Let's go into Exodus 33 and 18. Okay? Because he said he saw God face to face. Well, let's see. Exodus 33 and 18. It said, and he said, I beseech thee, show me thy glory. This is what Moses told the Most High. Now, if Jacob seen God face to face, let's see what Moses said. Exodus 33 and 18. He said, I beseech thee. He said, show me thy glory. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before thee, and I will proclaim the name of the Lord before thee. And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. Exodus 33 and 20. And he said, thou cannot see my face. So the Most High told Moses that he could not see his face. So how is it that Jacob seen God face to face concerning Genesis, the 32nd chapter? He said he seen God face to face, but however, Exodus 33 and 20, the Most High tell Moses that thou cannot see my face, for there shall no man see me and live. And that's Exodus 33 and 20. So if the Most High told Moses that he could not see his face, let's go back to Genesis 32 and let's look at verse 30, Genesis 32 and 30. Jacob say he seen God face to face. So what's going on? We just showed you in Exodus, I believe, the 33rd chapter, dealing in the 33rd chapter, that Moses wanted to see the Most High's face, and he said no man can look upon him and live. So how come Jacob did not die? Because he did not see the true essence of the Most High. Genesis 32 and 30 tells you that Jacob tapped into his pineal, man. Jacob tapped into his pineal. And that's what I'm trying to bring out, because I want you brothers and sisters to see that the pineal gland is recorded in the Bible. Genesis 32 and 31. And as he passed over pineal, which is the same as pineal, because I don't want you to get pineal and pineal and pineal. I don't want you to get that twisted. They are the same. So as he passed it over the same place he called pineal, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Now, why did this speak of the sun rising upon him, man? Why did it speak of that? It says that the sun rose upon him, because when you do further research on the pineal gland, okay, when you do further research on the pineal gland is very significant to light. It's very significant to light. All right, it's very significant to light. So that's what it speaks of in Genesis 32 and 31. The sun rose upon him, because what happened, that I'm trying to tell you in so many words, what Jacob experienced. Okay, he was meditating, and it had a profound effect on his conscience. And what happened was he awakened the pineal gland, which was the third eye. That's what he did. And he had that first hyperdimensional travel, man, or astral projection, so some would say. So concerning Genesis 32 and 31, as he passed over Pineal, the sun rose upon him. That can be so many words. Jacob passed over Pineal, the sun rose upon him, simply because the kundalini, which is another form of energy in the form of a serpent, a snake. It represents the rising of energy. The kundalini rose to the pineal gland and opened the gateway for a high dimension experience. And that's what happened. He had his first dimensional experience when his kundalini rose to that particular destination and opened that gateway, which is the pineal, because your pineal is a gateway into inner dimensions. And that's what happened. It also says that he halted upon his thigh. Okay, he halted upon his thigh. When you look at Genesis 32 and 32, therefore the children of Israel eat not of sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow, which is the hollow of the thigh, to this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh, and the sinew that shrunk. So you can see concerning Jacob wrestling the man, because everybody has this tough guy in their life that they must overcome. And Jacob was wrestling, and it speaks of his thigh being thrown out of joint, because the thigh is also a symbol of spiritual advancement. Okay, it's also a symbol of spiritual advancement. The position of the thigh symbolized the astral plane. The astral plane, and that's what he had, astral projection. The awakening of the pineal gland through the vibration of the kundalini. Basically, that's what happened concerning Genesis, the 32nd chapter, dealing with this certain man that Jacob was battling with.